Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode corporate filings so you don't have to. Today we are diving into Protagonist Therapeutics' annual 10K report, and it is going to be a wild ride, a company changing its entire business model with a blockbuster drug and a lot of money coming in. Get ready for some twists. Protagonist Therapeutics just reported its financial performance for the year. But this isn't just about numbers, it's a story of major business decisions, lucrative partnerships, and a glimpse into the future of this biopharmaceutical company. They're focused on peptide therapeutics and have some potential blockbuster drugs in development for blood disorders and inflammatory diseases. Let's start with an overview of what Protagonist Therapeutics does. They discover and develop new medicines called peptide therapeutics. Think of peptides like smaller, more targeted versions of those big antibody drugs you often see advertised. They are working on treatments for blood disorders as well as inflammatory and immune-related diseases. Two of their drugs are in late-stage clinical trials, meaning they are getting close to potentially being approved for sale: rusfertide and icotrokinra Ra. Rusfertide is injected to treat a rare blood disorder called polycythemia vera, or PV. Then icotrokinra Ra is an oral pill that blocks a certain receptor and is being developed for diseases like psoriasis and ulcerative colitis. Rusfertide works by mimicking hepcidin, a hormone that helps regulate iron in the blood, potentially helping patients with PV by managing their red blood cell count. Icotrokinra Ra takes a different approach, aiming to block the IL-23 receptor, which plays a role in several inflammatory diseases, using an oral pill instead of an injectable. This could make it more convenient for patients. One of the biggest highlights of the year was their partnership with Takeda, a large pharmaceutical company, for rusfertide. This means Takeda will help develop and eventually sell rusfertide. Protagonist got $300 million up front and could receive up to $330 million more if certain goals are met, plus royalties on sales outside the US. This also gives Protagonist options in how they share the US profits and losses, and can change to get even larger cash payments down the line if they step away from the 50-50 agreement. The potential deal is worth up to $630 million. Not only that, icotrokinra Ra also showed positive results in phase 3 trials for plaque psoriasis, showing it could significantly clear skin compared to a placebo. They also nominated PN-881, which could be a really strong oral drug to treat skin diseases, and announced additional programs for obesity and blocking a certain protein in blood disorders. All these achievements helped Protagonist earn $165 million in milestone payments from J&J, and they're still eligible for up to $630 million more, plus royalties on sales. This influx of cash has left Protagonist in a strong financial position, ending the year with over $559 million in cash, cash equivalents, and marketable securities, so this could help fuel their research and development efforts. However, there is some interesting stuff regarding rusfertide that came up in some rodent studies. There were some findings of benign and malignant skin tumors, but they're doing further studies to make sure there are no carcinogen-related findings. To understand the value of a drug like icotrokinra Ra, it is important to understand the IL-23 and IL-17 pathways. These two are key drivers of inflammation in diseases like psoriasis, psoriatic arthritis, and inflammatory bowel disease. The market for psoriasis therapies is huge, reaching almost $25 billion in 2023, and is expected to continue to grow. A lot of new therapies targeting the inflammatory pathway have come out, but there's still an unmet need for new drugs, especially ones that are convenient to take. Phase 3 trial results showed that nearly 2/3 of patients taking icotrokinra Ra achieved clear or almost clear skin. Results are still coming in for trials on ulcerative colitis, and they're expecting results for other psoriasis trials. Protagonist is also developing PN-881, a potential best-in-class oral peptide targeting IL-17, which has potential for various skin diseases. The market is quite competitive, and companies will have to battle with already approved treatments like Stelara, Tremfya, and Skyrizi to gain the market share. The key agreements for Protagonist are the Takeda collaboration agreement for rusfertide and the J&J license and collaboration agreement for icotrokinra Ra. Like all companies, Protagonist is also subject to various government regulations, especially from the FDA, that dictate how they develop, manufacture, and market their drugs. To get a drug approved, they have to go through preclinical studies, clinical trials, and a whole lot of regulatory reviews. This is a costly and lengthy process. Sales of any approved drugs heavily depend on whether insurance companies and government healthcare programs will cover the costs. Protecting their intellectual property is a constant battle, and they rely on patents, trade secrets, and confidentiality agreements. Finally, the report outlines some risks for investors. Their stock price can be volatile and may decline at any point. They also face competition, rely heavily on collaborations, and are subject to regulatory hurdles. Let's get into the financial results. The license and collaboration revenue increased significantly from $60 million in 2023 to $434.4 million in 2024. The huge jump is thanks to the Takeda partnership and milestone payments from John DJ. Most of the Takeda money is being recognized over time as they perform their responsibilities in development. Research and development expenses increased from about $120 million to $138 million. This shows they're investing more into their pipeline, particularly with the new candidate PN881. They ended the year with a whopping $559.2 million in cash and securities, which is a big jump from the previous year. This was fueled by the $300 million upfront payment from Takeda. In January, they partnered with Takeda Pharmaceutical for rusfertide. They will share the costs of development, manufacture, and commercialization in the US. In the same amended agreement, the previous $35 million was eliminated for future products after filing an NDA with the FDA. They have enough cash to last at least another year, but will likely need more in the future to fully develop their products. Some of these laws could impact their ability to price their products or get them covered by insurers. They take cybersecurity seriously, and their board and management are actively involved in overseeing these risks. So what does all this mean? Protagonist Therapeutics seems to be at a turning point. The Takeda deal has given them a lot of cash, and their pipeline has potential. A weakness is that this revenue may not be recurring. One big opportunity is to expand PN881 into multiple new applications. Key risks to keep an eye on include clinical trial setbacks, regulatory hurdles, and competition from other drug companies. Currently, they are sitting on a healthy $2 billion market cap, and they seem to have the money to keep growing for the next few years. All in all, I am going to go slightly bullish with the expectation that Protagonist Therapeutics may come out with new drugs that are more effective than their current drugs at some point in the near future. My target price range would be $45, $55, considering the overall strength of the business. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, please subscribe, like, and comment.